Hello, it's Friday, it's the 22nd of March, which means it's sort of mid-time in the month, so it's time for the monthly vlog. Grab a brew, sit down, let's get started. So welcome back. It's been an interesting month inside the workshop, or should I say an interesting month outside of the workshop. If you follow me regularly, you'll know I had to take a short sabbatical away from YouTube, and that turned out to be 3 weeks in total. Now the reason for that is I have a very close family member of mine who suffers from Alzheimer's, and if that's a disease that you're familiar with, it's actually a terrible disease, and it tends to go in plateaus. So you're okay for a while and then you decline, then you're okay for a while and you decline, and every time you get that decline, it's a very frightening time for family and loved ones, as well as obviously the individual themselves. And unfortunately, the person who's close to me went through one of those dips about a month or so ago, and that's resulted in having to find a lot of enhanced healthcare and places to live and so on and so forth. So that's been a complete nightmare, and I couldn't really dedicate the time on YouTube and do my job and provide the care that was required and meet the commitments to the customers as part of the emerging woodworking business. So that's where I've been. So thank you all so much for your great words of support and encouragement and advice and help. It really does mean a lot, and thank you so much. To think, 4 months ago we didn't know each other, no YouTube videos made, and now you're encouraging me, supporting me, not just in the business but in things going on outside the business as well. That's really quite humbling. So yeah, so thank you. We put a video out last Tuesday, so we are back to the regular schedule, although for the next month it's going to be a bit strange, not as clean as always, but we'll talk about that in a second. And we finally made a start on the Incra joint system, so it was great to be back in the shop and it was great to be doing that. And if you've not seen it, the first video that we created was a over-engineered pencil box. It was really an experiment in box joints and getting these joints working, and that's come out pretty well, so pleased with that. And that video's been really well received. I think it's one of the fastest growing videos that we've done to date, and really positive comments and feedback on it. So the next video will be coming out on Tuesday, then a following one the Tuesday after that, and we'll talk about that in a second. So because it's been a quiet month, there's not really a lot been going on. I have started the conservatory refit. I've now got the floor down, and I'm waiting today just to take some delivery of the skirting board and the architrave and the material for the overall arch frame. That will be coming out in about, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks time, when we finally get around to finishing this bookcase that has stalled a little bit while I've taken some time out. But yeah, we're back on track and we will get things moving. I have bought some new toys over the last month, namely some of these rail dogs. And the reason for that is, about the double MFT table and how great that's been, and how I was using it for multiple cutting stations. What was really getting on my nerves was having to take the sliding handles off, take the rail off and reposition it for the next cut. And it was just taking so much time, and it was so cumbersome to do, that there had to be a better solution. And one of our community mentioned a couple of these dogs to me. These are fence dogs, and they slide on the bottom of the festal rail, and then they just go into these holes. And it's very fast, and it's very quick, and it's guaranteed to be square to the table every single time. So I can now pretty much put the rail wherever I want to on my MFT, either for rip cuts or for cross cuts, and so on and so forth. And that's working really well. And as I was looking at these, I also came across these fence dogs as well, and they just fit to the standard festal rail, and they also slot into the holes, and that gives me a lot of flexibility around this one. So now within minutes I can set a new cutting station up at anywhere on that, including the fence, including the festool rail, and everything's square, everything's 90 degrees, and that is working out really well. I've also bought this beast. This is the long festool rail. This is 2,700 millimeters long, the 2.7 rail, and that's because as part of the conservatory project I've got to break down some pretty big boards to do the framing round the archway. And what I'm finding with the shorter rails that I have and using the festool clamps to connect them together, they don't come out perfectly parallel to each other. There's a tendency for the gap to move one way or another, and it gives you a slight bow in your cut if you're not careful. And once again, you can solve that and you can set it up. But using the long rail with a guaranteed straight edge has really made a difference as well. So a few changes to the MFT table, and what I'm going to do, because there's so much interest in the double MFT table and how I use it, and I think this new stuff is worth exploring as well, I'll make an MFT update video at some point in the near future, and we'll crack on and get into that. So yeah, a few new toys, and that's made a difference. The conservatory project's coming on really well, as I mentioned. The floor is now fitted. That had its challenges, but we got through that, and the job is really good. I'm really proud and really pleased with the work that I've done on that conservatory. As I'm saying, later on today I've got the skirting boards and the architrave arriving, and I can kind of crack on and do a bit more of that job. That's been an interesting one to video, let alone the lighting and the sort of sound quality in an echoey room with household lighting rather than the bright lights I have in my workshop has had its own challenges. And basically it's been a case of a single camera, letting it run, zooming it in on any action I want to talk about, and then explaining as I'm going along. So it's worked okay, I think. The editing has been a bit of a nightmare, but we'll see what you think when we release the video. So let's see how we're doing on the channel. So the goal of our channel is remaining the same. We still want to help and inspire like-minded makers to turn a passion into a business, and that's beginning to resonate now. I've had a few people getting in touch with me and saying, really like what you're doing, really brave, really crack on and get it done, and I'm thinking of doing the same. So understanding my journey is really beginning to resonate with people, and that's exactly what the channel is about. And we seem to be developing, I think, two audiences now. The audience on the business side that really want to understand how to do this for themselves, and then the audience on the making side, the people who really want to get on and make things. You know, I've had some great dialogues around the Sysport with people saying, you know, this is my situation, how do I weigh that up? I'm going to go ahead and make this, I'm going to make these changes. And please, if you've got any questions or comments or anything like that, get in touch with me. I do respond to them, and we've got some really good dialogues going now at helping people out on their own and their own journey. So I'm really pleased with those two audiences. That's what I hope was going to happen, and it has, and that's really great. So although we're a bit out of track, the Tuesday videos are still going to be about, you know, the business side, the tool reviews, the tips, and every second Tuesday the monthly vlog, and the Friday is still going to be about project builds that we're doing both in the shop and for our customers. We blew that out, you know, we've now blown out the water, the 1,000 subscriber mark, so we've met that. We're ways ahead of the 98% of likes I was looking for. The website is launched, and I need to do some more work around the crafts. That slipped a little bit. This month I wanted to get a little bit into the craft side of things, but again, that slipped, so I need to make sure I accelerate to catch that up. And we are incredibly close to the 240,000 minutes of watch time. Incredibly close. This time next week, I think I'll surpass that, and then I can go ahead and apply for a YouTube partnership, and that should hopefully start to get a bit of revenue coming back in to support the channel, which is great for all of us. So here's a Tuesday schedule. You can see I've got this really unhappy face here where I had to take what turned out to be 3 weeks away from YouTube. So say on Tuesday I did publish the Incra joints, the box joints, and that's gone down well. Next Tuesday I'm going to be doing the dovetail joints. The Tuesday after will be the blind dovetail joints. I'm then going to do this update on the MFT table that I think is quite useful, and then we're back to the next monthly blog. I've started to build a backlog of things I want to do as well. There's some festool tools here, so the sander, the track saw, the air suction, that we haven't actually spoken about. So I'm going to do some videos around that, just so we can complete the catalogue of festool tools. And the big news is, because the bookcase will be ready, I can then clear out the area behind the camera. I can then put the gardening gear out of the way into its outside storage, I should be getting the planer jointer, and that opens a whole new world of fun for us. So hopefully we'll be doing a video on that, probably a video series on that. It's quite complicated. So that's a Tuesday, that's what's going on our Tuesday and what you can expect. So Friday continues as well. You can see it's exactly the same. We stopped doing any work on the Friday videos around the 22nd of February. So the last video you saw was around the bookcase build, was actually putting the drawers together and assembling the drawers. And today we're doing the monthly vlog. Yes, that should be a Tuesday, but I wanted to get an Incra video out to sort of kind of re-energize the channel. So I'm doing the monthly vlog today, and then we'll get back into the regular routine. So I think I've got about 3 more episodes of bookcase build to go. So these aren't really drawers, you may be able to see the design flow with them, but we have got all the blind dovetails cut, but these aren't yet assembled, they're just holding together by the friction of the joint. So we've got to drop a base on these, we've got to do the front on these and get them all glued up and get them installed. We've then got the doors to do. These are going to be raised panel doors, so stiles and rails and panel cutters and things. So we look at how we do those, one on either side. And then I've got the final crown moulding to go on top there, which is going to have our clocks, humidity gauge, temperature gauge built into it as well. So a bit more work to do on that, and I say 3 more episodes I think will get us there. On the 19th of April, we'll then come ahead and we'll do another workshop video, and that will just be the end-to-end build in a single episode of the entire bookcase, just as we did with the Sysport. And I am building up that series of workshop videos, so in the future, in theory, somebody could sit down from the design of a workshop and see the entire workshop in a single series of videos. And the idea goes, if you want to break out of that and say, hey, how did you do that Sysport? You can then deep dive into the Sysport build and come back up and then continue your journey of doing the workshop. And there's a vain hope there that somebody someday may want to build their own workshop, and that might be a valuable resource to them. 26th of April through to the 10th of May, 3 episodes I think around about the conservatory. Say the floor's now down. Later on today I'll be starting on the fit, building the arch casing we're going to have inside there, then the architrave, then the skirting boards, and then we hand over to the decorator to finish that. And if we're lucky, we'll get invited back in a couple of weeks to see the final products. But I think 3 series around that. And then I've got a heck of a backlog of projects we need to get to. The tool chest project is pretty important. At the moment, all my hand tools are underneath this workbench, and they're all wrapped in oil and bubble wrap, and they're inside a cardboard box, but I am missing them. There's been a few times where I thought, oh, I'll just pop out my plane just to trim that or to smooth that off, and I can't get to it because it's inside here. So I do want to get ahead and build out this tool case for the hand tools so we can access them all. And that's probably going to be the first project where we actually put the planer jointer, if we have it, through its paces. So that's part of the backlog, and we'll look at the timing of that. That's going to be quite a complicated build, so it will be a series, and we're actually going to do that to a very high quality of build. So I think we're going to make it out of cherry and ash to give us a nice contrast. The casing work is all going to be blind dovetails, and everything's going to be pretty much a drawer that we can pull out to get access to the different materials, be that the large jointer planes I have, all the way through to some of the marking gear that currently hides away inside one of my sustainers. So that's going to be a really exciting series, and I'm looking forward to doing that build. I've got a couple of commissions that are floating around. I've still got the chest table to do, a couple of coffee tables to do now. Outside planters, which is the most important project ever, because that would be for Mrs. Woodgrafter. And we were out the other day and she saw these large planters that are actually made out of tongue and groove material, and I've got loads of this stuff left in short lengths. So I'm going to make a number of planters. It's probably be a weekend project, and maybe that's a series we start to get into as well, weekend projects for woodworkers, and that should probably take no more than half a day to build, but it's good practice. And you'll be using dominoes and obviously a tongue and groove. We'll put some rebates inside there to hold the tongue and groove into place, so that'd be an interesting little project. So we'll crack that one out for Mrs. Woodgrafter. I've then got an outside table that I want to build for a patio area, and then I want to do a little bit more stuff inside the workshop. This Festool setup that we went for is working incredibly well, but I do want the ability to be able to move it around depending on the situation. At the moment, dragging these around is really quite heavy. The Festool products, as you know, all the tables, the legs fold up and they can be table mounted. So we're going to make a number of mobile bases for the tables to sit on top of, and that will be the Capex table, it will be the MFT table, and it will be the CMS tables. All will have mobile bases built, and then I can move those around. Similarly, the jointer will be on a mobile base, and the bandsaw, when we get it, will also be on a mobile base, and therefore I can reconfigure things as required. So that's going to be an interesting little series, and we are going to start to build some craft projects, and that could well be, thinking on my feet here, that could well be combined with that weekend woodworker project thing. You know, so I'm talking end boards here, you know, spoons, utensils, outdoor planters, so on and so forth. So we might combine all that and start to have a craft series going on that we put things in that we actually want to start to sell on things like Amazon and Etsy and my own website. So that's what's going on with the Friday schedule. So a little bit messy at the moment as I move things around to catch up on the sabbatical, but hey, such is life, right? We'll get through it. Okay, so the figures. Can you believe these figures? Let's start off with the numbers of minutes watched. 240,000 minutes is what we're looking for. We are now at 220,369 minutes of Woodgrafter videos watched by people on YouTube. 220,000. That's 3,673 hours, 153 days. Can you believe it? And that was our year target. And we're here in round about, what's this, month 4-ish, and we're about to surpass the 240,000 target. And look at the way that this is accelerating. Look at this profile now. It's flying up like nobody's business. And that's a really exciting thing to see. Now, what's interesting about the minutes watched is if you look at a 4-week period, the 4 weeks before I took the sabbatical, I had 76,000 minutes accumulated across that 4-week period of minutes of videos watched. During sabbatical, where I wasn't producing anything, that dropped to 63,000. And that's an example of how quickly a channel will die. And that 63,000 accelerates as well. So in the same way that it accelerates exponentially upwards, it does the same downwards. So although it takes you about 4 months to get to this, or taken me about 4 months to get to this point, I could destroy the entire channel within about a 2-month period, and that would be hard to recover. So if you are thinking of going onto the YouTube side to create, you know, videos around your passion, and then use the YouTube as a source of revenue, that you can do, that is possible, then just make sure that you're committed, and that's a real life example of how quickly a channel will die. But we're back and it's beginning to grow again, so we're good. If we look at the number of subscribers, here in the 16th, we were sort of approaching the 1,500 mark. We're now at 2,037 subscribers. 2,037. And it took us to approaching mid-February to get to our first 1,000 subscribers. A month on, we've got another 1,000 plus subscribers. So again, we've got exponential growth inside here. And I was looking at the traffic the other day. You've got YouTube analytics and you can dig deep into a whole host of areas. And I might share that with you one day actually. We might do a video on behind the scenes of YouTube. So how do I create videos, edit videos, how do I manage analytics, how do I decide what thumbnails to move, what cars to put around. It's quite a complicated thing, so we might do that as a video thinking about it. But what I'm now noticing is that 47% of my views are coming from YouTube's homepage. So we're doing something right. This is magical algorithm that drives YouTube, and that's, you know, how many subscribers you get, how many videos you watch, how videos are promoted, whether they appear, whether YouTube likes you or not. And obviously, as you start to make revenue, YouTube want you to make more revenue because they get more advertising revenue, and that's their business model. So if you manage to get it right, YouTube do the promoting because it's in their interest to do it, and then you get the benefits of that. So 47% of my views are coming from what's known as the YouTube homepage. So when you log on to YouTube and it knows who you are, it makes some recommendations before you do any watching, my videos are now appearing on that, and that's great. So we're doing something right. Don't know what, but we're doing something right, and I'm finding that fantastic. So yeah, the channel is growing really, really well. So that's pretty much it for today. Not too much to talk about. So next Tuesday, the next Incra joint video is coming out. That's going to be the through dovetail joint on the Incra table. And what's harder than doing the joints is thinking about quick projects I can do inside a single episode that demonstrate the joint being used. What I'm come up with, I'm going to put a nice little box on the side of my MFT so I can just clip it on to any of the MFT silver edging on any of my tables, and just a box that's going to click on that I can put things into, because I'm finding I'm putting things all over these channels, and sometimes they're in the way and sometimes I knock them off, or I put them on the top of the fence and they'll roll off and fall down a 20mm hole if it's a small item. So I'm just going to build a clip-on box that I can take around from workstation to workstation, and I can drop the things into there I'm using to keep my worktop clear. So that's going to be quite again, an over-engineered box that does a very simple job, but it should demonstrate the joints. So watch out for that. Hope you're finding it useful. It's great to be back, and I'll see you next time.